Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back. This is another match review. I did record one when I just finished a kickoff, but decided not to upload it because I just thought let's have a little chat here anyway on live. Because what the hell happened today? What happened to Manchester United? Well, what happened was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got it wrong. Manchester United underperformed. We never changed throughout the game. We didn't change the way things were going. And as a result, in the end, it was a comfortable 3 points for Arsenal. An Arsenal side that came to Old Trafford and were struggling. They weren't in great form. Although they beat Dundalk midweek, they were showing signs that you could get at Arsenal. Or they were a team that wouldn't really threaten many teams. They hadn't had many shots. I think they were sitting around 15th or 16th in the table in terms of shots on goal. And this is an Arsenal side that have changed under McKola Arteta. But in the game and throughout the game, Manchester United showed far too much respect for McKola Arteta's side. And as a result, we just gave the momentum, gave the onus to them. And we never really got going throughout the game. In the second half, I'd guess we dominated possession. We spent a lot of time in their half, but never really threatened their goal. There was a few moments, a header wide from Harry Maguire. But apart from that, I can't remember a real moment where I thought, oh, this is a big chance. You know, there were a few moments where we could have taken a shot from outside the box or in and around the box. But there was never a moment where you thought United are going to score. And to be fair, whilst Arsenal had their chances and they were probably the better team, you know, a 0-0 result was probably the way it was going if there wasn't a penalty to decide the game. There was a penalty though. And before that and after that, I thought United could have done things much differently. Much differently to the way we did it. Even before the game started, when I saw the team, I saw the diamond, I thought, not in this game. Not in this game. Because when we've seen with the diamond, you lack width up top. And you also lack protection for your fullbacks in defence. And there was a lot of space in front of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, in front of Luke Shaw. And Arsenal today, did well with that space. They dominated, they kept us pegged back. They hustled, harried, worked hard, got the ball. And it was an Arsenal team it wasn't like any Arsenal team that you've seen really come to Old Trafford in the way they set up. But they did set up well. In terms of how organised they were, and they fought for everything and they won their battles today. I thought Thomas Partey was a big part of why they got the victory, and it's an example of a signing that I know I don't want to play Captain Hindsight here, but in the summer I was saying United should be in for Thomas Partey. He was one of my top 3 ins. I said Jadon Sancho, Thomas Partey, Jack Grealish, get me them. And when you look at Thomas Partey, what he does for Arsenal, that is exactly what we need someone to do for us. And because we don't have that, we go with Fred and McTominay in front of the defence. And it just isn't good enough. It's not to blame Fred or McTominay, by the way, as individuals for the result. I just mean in terms of the way we set up was very passive. We passed the momentum to them. And we had nothing in terms of in front of Fred and McTominay. No wide players in wide positions and wing areas. We couldn't get the ball out to Pogba and Bruno to set up any plays. Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford were isolated, couldn't get time on the ball. We missed Anthony Martial clearly, but the way we set up didn't play into the hands of Rashford, Greenwood. You know, Bruno and Pogba were out wide and isolated, because whilst it looked like a diamond on paper, Fred and McTominay was sat there in front of the defence, and then Pogba and Bruno were almost kind of like, Pogba was very wide out on the left, and Bruno was where he usually is, but also moving around the pitch as he does. We didn't really have any shape, and it was a problem for Manchester United, and we didn't change it quick enough. The one thing that gave me confidence, when I saw it wasn't working in that Ollie would change. It was that over the last few weeks, he's shown that he will change things to get a result. PSG, away from home, taking off Telles, bringing on Pogba. You know, making the change in shape, and it helped us win the game. And he didn't do that today when the opportunity was there to do it. And I felt you take off one of Fred or McTominay, or even Pogba or Bruno, who hadn't played well either. You take off one of those players. I would have thought Fred or McTominay, probably McTominay. You take off Scott McTominay. You bring on Edinson Cavani. You put Edinson Cavani through the middle. You bring Pogba back a little bit. 4-2-3-1. Okay, it's not our ideal formation, but it's a formation we've played a lot. You get two wide players in Rashford and Greenwood. You can peg back their fullbacks who are having a good time with it, and you can build out. But we lost the tactical battle from the start, and Ollie failed to change it, and as a result, we failed to get a result, and therefore, the result is Ollie's fault, because he set up wrong today. He got it wrong. We got it wrong. Ollie got it wrong. The manager got it wrong. Now, the one reason I didn't want to upload my review as well was because I'd seen the penalty on the TV once or twice. Then we were discussing it on True Geordie. I didn't think it was a penalty. Since then, I've watched it. It's a penalty. You know what I mean? It's soft, but it's a penalty. It was a silly challenge by Paul Pogba, and it gave him a penalty. Second penalty is given away. I think the one against Spurs, you know, we were getting overrun, and it was we were battered already. But this one decided the game today. Obviously, he's going to take a lot of headlines because of that. But I don't think the result today was down to Paul Pogba's performance, although he didn't play well. Bruno's performance, he didn't play well. Rashford, I don't think it was down to any of those players' performances. McTominay's, Fred's. I thought Fred did okay, actually. He was probably our better player. Victor Lindelof did okay as well at times. But besides that, I don't think you could blame a player or the players for it. I simply think it was a system. The way we set up, the way we didn't change it throughout the game. Obviously, that daft penalty, if you don't give away that penalty, I don't think Arsenal score. And it's 0-0. Another poor game like the Chelsea game. But that would have been probably papering over the cracks. Because that Chelsea game as well, the way we set up wasn't good enough. You know, again, Cavani on the bench. You play Cavani, you play Rashford out wide. You don't have to play Daniel James. And I feel like in the league, Ollie's got it wrong so far this season. I could kind of take the Palace result on the chin. No pre-season. I understood it. You know, even the Spurs one to some extent, like, to get a man sent off, keep chasing the game, you lose. Like, it happened under Fergie, you know what I mean, against City. He got it wrong in that game. I don't think we should have kept pressing them from the front. We had far too many holes at the back, and we exposed those holes when we pressed from the front against Spurs. But like, you could kind of take those results. We hadn't had a pre-season. We were unfit. We played against sides that had a lot of preparation, and you know, there were circumstances in the game where you looked at and you thought, all right, you know, start of the season, can overlook that. But by now, I don't think you can use that lack of a pre-season as an excuse, because we've had a lot of games, a lot of football. Players are getting up to the speed of things. And today, whilst there were individually poor performances from players, I ultimately think it came down to the way we set up. Ollie got it wrong on the day, and as a result, we've lost the game. And that's 4 home games now. We've picked up 1 point in those 4 home games. We've won our away games. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. We need to be doing a lot better. A lot better. We've dropped more points than we've won this season. 7 points dropped. 7 points won, 11 points dropped. Not good enough. And in a season when it's going to be so open, you know, you don't know who's going to win the league. I know Liverpool and City are still favourites, but you don't really know who's going to win the league. It's going to be open all the way through. I think Spurs and Everton are possible shouts for a league title if they get their acts together. And I wanted us to be knocking about with that, possibly, you never know, being with a sniff, stay close, see what happens throughout the season. But you've immediately just, 6-9 points behind everyone already. Yes, we've got that game in hand, but you have to win your game in hands, and it's just really annoying at the start of the season to have to do this. And yes, we've had some difficult games, but it's a big opportunity to take advantage early on in the season. Failed to take it. Anthony Jones with the super chat says the loss is hard to take. I've never seen an Arsenal side more pathetic than this one. They had nothing in midfield. They were always going to feed on scraps. Losing into this Arsenal side hurts. I disagree that they have nothing in midfield, because they have bought Thomas Partey, and I think whilst I like the signing of Donny van der Beek, and I was buzzing with the signing of Donny van der Beek, and I think he's going to be a fantastic player for us in the future, the kind of player we needed more in our first 11, and you're seeing that in the fact that Donny van der Beek isn't starting at the moment, was a Thomas Partey. Because at the moment we're having to compensate for the fact we haven't got a holding midfielder who isn't the Man Utd, who's getting old and is not that good anymore, or he can put in a performance here and there, but you have to wrap him up in cotton wool, and we have to compensate for the fact we haven't got a proper holding midfielder by playing the two there. You play Thomas Partey with Bruno and Pogba, it works in a 3 because he's so good he can do that role on his own. And again, a big part of Arsenal's win today, whilst I think tactically we got it wrong, I think he was a massive part of their victory, because he gave them a platform to build from. And I think you'll see in their front line, they're not really, because they're focusing on defence and building from the back, and doing all that first before they think about attack. You look at their strikers, Lacazette lacking confidence, Aubameyang hadn't scored in a while. If it wasn't for a penalty, I don't think he scores today. And they were lacking confidence today, and we allowed them the chance to just rebuild it. It was daft. We should have been going for them from the start. But you've seen in Arteta that they're building from the back first, trying to get it defensively right, and then get it right going forward. United today, did we see an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that has been scarred by that 6-1 defeat against Spurs, that 3-2 defeat against Palace, and has opted to go safety first at home? Because look, against Chelsea, against Arsenal, you could argue that's what he's done. He's gone safety first. So I think he has to have a look at that. Going forward. Obviously we got Istanbul next, which the Champions League, we're doing quite well. Wouldn't surprise me if we put in a good performance. Got a good win against Istanbul Besiktas here. But again, next week we got Everton. Got a good team. I know they underperformed today. They'll have Luka Digne back. I'm not sure whether Richarlison and James Rodriguez will return, but it's a difficult team we're coming up against, and we have to put in a performance against them. But again, I suppose you could say that might suit us. Ollie says, "Hi Adam, it's clear that Anthony Martial is United's MVP regardless of formation. Not even close, but top Reds will try and convince us that it's Bruno or Marcus. How come you always give Mike Phelan a free pass on criticism?" Because I don't know why people would target the assistant manager first. Should you target, if you're going to criticise anyone, the manager takes the book, right? I don't remember ever criticising. I don't see anybody else's assistant managers getting criticised. I haven't seen what Roy Keane said, so I can't comment on that. Fellaini was Mourinho's weakness, and McTominay is Ollie's weakness, says Vinod. Yeah, it was a poor performance from him today, but he wasn't the only one again. And I think if you're going to play McTominay, don't play Fred. If you're going to play Fred, don't play McTominay. It's just way too negative. Ken's asking where Alex Telles was. Alex Telles was obviously, he had coronavirus. I think his period of isolation's over now. So he should be back into the team or into the squad this week, but that's why he wasn't available today. Everton's become a massive game now, says Matthew. It has done. But every game's massive. Chelsea was a massive game. We should have won it. We didn't. This was a massive game. We should have won it. We didn't. Dropped fucking loads of points. That's 5 points in those 2 games. 6 points against Palace and Spurs. That's 11 points dropped at home. Basically, Roy Keane said there isn't any leaders. I don't know. I think there's leaders for different reasons. I just think you've got to have leadership from all areas. Leadership from the board. Leadership from the manager. I think if United are playing well, you know, Rashford, Bruno, Pogba, Harry Maguire, De Gea, they're all leaders within their own right. So I hate when people go for the lazy analysis of no heart, no leadership, they don't care, this, that, the other, like, fight, they don't care about the badge. Like, it's so lazy. Like, I know occasionally you'll have players that don't care, or don't want to be there or whatever, but to think any player goes onto the pitch and don't want to play or whatever, I think that's incredibly daft. And I think you have to look at, you know, things aren't as binary either. Like, people are, obviously at this time, United have lost now, you know, so everyone's going to be talking about Ollie out when we beat RB Leipzig, Ollie in. I hate looking at things that way. Like, look at the Leipzig game, we played well, we did well. Look at this game, we performed badly, the manager performed badly, got it wrong. And then you look at the bigger picture at things. Ollie got it right last year. We finished 3rd. I think he succeeded in that terms. No one expected us to finish 3rd. I think last season would have liked to have done better in the cups, but ultimately it was a success. This season so far it hasn't been, and if it continues to go badly, if the performances continue to get worse, which at this moment in time I don't think the performances are alarming, because, you know, in the last couple of weeks, more often than not, we've played well. So you have to look at the bigger picture. Yes, you can analyse a fixture or a game, how it went. People now saying, Ollie's hasn't got a clue tactically. Well, not true, because he's done well in other games, but it's consistency. And managers will get things wrong, but unfortunately for Ollie, he's got it wrong against Chelsea, against Arsenal, against Spurs. And when you're at a club like Manchester United, the pressure will build. Now his Champions League form has helped him so far, and he needs to hope we can get a result midweek, get a result against Everton, see where we can go. But, you know, we need a reaction. I don't think we've had a reaction in the league. We haven't had a reaction in the league, and we need one quick, because not good enough so far. Not good enough. Bilgi says team selection and formation was atrocious. Playing Bruno so high up the pitch to accommodate 2 CDMs made Bruno totally ineffective. Might as well have given him a rest. Yeah, and I think the thing is with Bruno is he has the ability to cover ground, so you don't need to play him that high up the pitch. But at times it was almost like a false 9. Is Van der Beek Ollie's signing, says Floating? I think Ollie would have recommended him. He would have been on a list. But I don't think Ollie makes any of the signings. In the same way that Ollie would have wanted Bruno, wanted Maguire, wanted Wan-Bissaka. Ultimately, he don't make the final decision because he's not doing the negotiating. So Van der Beek may have been on his list, but he may have been behind a fair few players. You don't know. You don't know at all. Anthony Jones with the super chat says Martial up top, Rashford left, Bruno 10, Mata right, with Matic and Fred or McTominay, Pogba, Cavani, Van der Beek from the bench. McTominay doesn't deserve to start at all. People like to get onto Pogba, and I see how it's everyone online saying it's Pogba to blame for the penalty. Agreed, but for the performance, the tactics, everything else, no. He was as bad as Bruno. He was as bad as McTominay. He was as bad as anyone else on the pitch. Rashford. So there you go. Anyway, that has been it for today. It's been the reaction to that game. Obviously, keep it locked. We'll have loads more coming up. We've obviously got the game against Istanbul coming up this week as well, where we'll have reaction preview to that and all that other good stuff. So make sure you're keeping it locked. Like, comment, share, subscribe as well. We are around 9,500 odd away from 100k subscribers. So get subscribing. And for now, I am going to get out of here. But thank you for keeping it locked. See you in a bit.